Hey, it's Chris here. I'm here with Stu Rankin, the legendary METCA and TCA Mogu, also of the LCCA. So your representation precedes you, and of course he's had another diabolical scheme to have me part with more of my money by coming up with something great, which is of course this New Hope and Ivyland number 40 steam engine. So Stu, if you could tell us just a little bit about what led you to want to do this engine and where we're at with the whole process.
Yeah. So, hey, Chris, before I get there, if I could just speak to everybody from other side of the tracks, do me a favor, right down below, click on the like, click on the subscribe, and there's a little bell icon where you can get notified of when Chris launches new videos. Please do just click on that. It's really appreciated, and it really helps Chris's channel. So, hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I know you love Strasburg Railroad, and I know you love New Hope and Ivyland. Being an East Coast guy like myself, there's a certain amount of connection and charm. But to focus on New Hope and Ivyland number 40, it's an idea I had a few years ago. Probably, I think 2 years ago, Lionel ran the 280 consolidation, and I was thinking about doing the New Hope and Ivyland there then, and talking with Lionel, well, Lionel's tooling isn't quite right for New Hope and Ivyland number 40. And so I had another bunch of projects in the works at the time, so I focused on those, and I put New Hope and Ivyland number 40 on the back burner. Well, just recently, July 2023, Lionel announced their next run of 280 consolidations.
Right.
And I finally said, you want to know what? Let's pull the trigger. Let's do it. I gotta give compliments to Lauren and Ryan at Lionel. Those two are the two folks that I work with the most to try to bring these locomotives to reality. And yes, there's a million people behind the scenes. So the New Hope and Ivyland number 40, 280 consolidation that METCA is doing, and you can see it at our website, metka.org, and then you look for our shop. It's not going to be entirely perfect. It's not going to be 100% accurate to what the real New Hope and Ivyland number 40 is. If you want 100% accurate, you got to go to something like maybe Third Rail Brass or something like that.
It's a model. It's going to be close enough. For representative piece, it's going to be perfect.
So what Chris just said is the key phrase, close enough. Just earlier tonight, Chris and I are recording this here at the LCCA convention in Concord, North Carolina. Literally, Chris, at the Lionel seminar, 20 minutes ago, I was chatting with Ryan and said, how can we make New Hope and Ivyland number 40 as close as reasonably possible? And Ryan and I were brainstorming about ideas of placement of the bell, placement of the whistle, the type of tender, because those are certain elements that Lionel has the tooling for, and it's just a matter of mixing and matching, but it's so complicated with production facilities, international, across the ocean. Anyhow, tonight, here at the LCCA convention, Ryan and I agreed we're going to make New Hope and Ivyland as close as we reasonably can in mass production without going to the extent of, say, brass detailed, where everything is accurate, which is what you would expect from, say, Third Rail or a custom manufacturer like that. So it really, I have a lot of confidence that we're going to do everything within our power, within Lionel's power, to do New Hope and Ivyland number 40, the 280 consolidation, as close as we reasonably can. As I just said a moment ago, this is an idea that we've been working on for a few years. There's a lot of passion behind East Coast railroads, tourist lines like the Strasburg Railroad, like New Hope and Ivyland. And I'm lucky that METCA, the Metropolitan Division of the TCA, is fortunate enough to be the organization that brings to you, Chris's viewers, the model that has never been done before
in history.
In history, in O gauge, New Hope and Ivyland number 40.
So happy that it's finally happening. And Stu, thank you, and Metka for assisting with that, and everyone at Lionel. It's so fortunate that it all is coming together. I'm really looking forward to when it's coming out next year, end of 2024.
So it should be out conservatively by the end of 2024, hoping for it, more mid of 2024.
Okay.
But until Lionel gathers their orders for all of their regularly cataloged 280s and whatever other custom run 280s might be done, we don't really have an accurate delivery date until Lionel consolidates all of those orders with all of the other items that they're putting in their 2023 Volume 2 catalog, sends them to their respective factories, and gets feedback from their factories as to how they slot them into production. We'll have a better idea then. We'll have a better idea closer to the end of 2023 when it will happen in 2024. We do have a lot of details to work out, Chris. As I mentioned earlier, the type of tender, the lettering on the tender, the placement of the backup light, the placement of the backup light on the tender, the placement of the ladder on the back of on the tender, the type and style and lettering of and color of the builder's plate on the boiler's front, the location of the headlight, whether it's off the front of the boiler or on top of the steam, the smoke box, just in front of the smokestack, the placement of the bell. Is it in front of the first dome or between the first dome and the second dome? These are a lot of the details that have not yet been worked out as of July 2023, but these are the type of details that we're working with Lionel on. And as much as we can, as much as their tooling will support, because quite honestly, Chris, we're not going to get into modifying the tooling. We are going to work within certain constraints to make this a feasible, an economically feasible project, if I can put it that way.
Right.
We're going to work within those constraints to tweak each detail that we can to make it as close as possible to the real New Hope and Ivyland number 40.
Sure. That's most appreciated. Like you mentioned, it's a passion, and it takes a lot of labor, but it's a labor of love with that passion for people like Stu that have appreciation for trains, for the Pennsylvania lines, and for the railroading community. So again, commend you for that. And we do have some very preliminary artwork, but as new artwork comes out, that'll be featured on Metka's website, and it is a limited run. So if you are interested in it, if you'd like the New Hope and Ivyland Railroad, you better put in that pre-order now, because once they're sold out, they're gone, right?
Yeah. So let me touch, if I can, take a moment to touch on how that process works. So we're in July 2023. As Chris said, July 2023, we have our first draft of the artwork currently on the Metka website, metka.org, and then you find the shop. You can click on the image of New Hope and Ivyland number 40 artwork, and it will enlarge so you can see it. That is the first draft. That doesn't include any of the modifications that I've talked with Lionel about, tweaks to the font of the text, all of those little subtle details that you might not realize or you might not be able to see it on the website, but when you hold that model in your hand a year from now, you will see it. So the first draft of the artwork is there. We've sent comments to Lionel already. We've had conversations with Lionel, as I said, not but 20 minutes ago, which is yet more changes. We'll get that updated artwork on the website as soon as we can. After we've nailed down the artwork, the deco sheet, if we want to call it that, once we approve the artwork, then Lionel will create a virtual image. And the virtual image is what you see in the catalogs. It looks like a 3D view sitting on the track. You almost think it's a real locomotive, but it's all computer generated images. So we will then get that on the website. So yes, I don't quite know when this video will launch compared to when we get the second version of the artwork, compared to when we get the virtual image. Keep your eyes on metka.org. You'll see the progression of this. We are very excited about this. We don't normally announce a locomotive while it's still in semi-developmental stage. We normally wait till we have the final virtual image because that's when all of these subtle little details are worked out. But because of the pent-up demand for number 40,
Right.
we wanted to get the word out there earlier, which is why we announced it with the very initial draft of the artwork.
Right.
Pay attention. We'll upload revised artwork when we get it. We will upload the virtual image, the catalog type image when we get it. Our quantities to Lionel are due by mid-August, late August.
That's coming up.
It's coming up. I can't guarantee that we're going to have that fancy, wow, virtual image by then. So this hobby involves a certain amount of trust.
Right.
And so for anybody that has followed the Metropolitan Division, METCA, and you're seeing me here on this video, I'm a collector, I'm a hobbyist, just like all of you guys out there. I want my custom runs to be as close to the real thing as possible. So sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. And I will say, Chris has already taken the leap of faith and reserved one of these units with the deposit. So thank you for that.
Order number 1, right?
Yeah, correct, exactly. So Chris knows that I'm going to do my best to make it as right as possible within the production constraints that we have. So to all of you out there, all the viewers of Other Side of the Tracks, if you don't yet see the real fancy virtual image on the website, just have some faith in me that I am going to make it as right as possible. And then, yeah, middle to end of August, we will submit a quantity to Lionel.
Yeah.
I will take those pre-orders like Chris's, probably add a handful of extra units on there, and that's going to be the quantity that we're going to make. We'll submit that quantity to Lionel. Lionel will combine that with all their regularly cataloged versions. Lionel will submit their purchase order over to their factories. But when I submit my final quantity to Lionel,
That is it forever.
it's final.
So if you're sitting on the fence, don't. Take that action right now. Put the order in because you may not get it then.
We won't be doing a second run. One-shot deal.
That's right. And if you've seen anything else that Stu's been involved with, METCA, and of course Lionel, they put out a lot of great pieces, and it's that passion. So I appreciate the passion, everything you do, and we really look forward to seeing that New Hope at Ivyland and all the other interesting items that you come up with out of that creative mind of yours.
Let's just say New Hope and Ivyland number 40 isn't going to be my last trip to the rodeo. There's more in stock.
Right, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Chris, thank you very much.
Thanks, Stu.
Thank you.
Good job.
Bye-bye.